Once upon a time, probably about 15 or so years ago, me and my group played a Drow campaign. And we played a campaign where everybody was part of a family, whether they were the lowest of the low as a slave or in the matron mother's family itself as one of her higher or lesser children. This is the box set we used. We used this family here, if I can get a hold of it with my big mitts. This is their fortress/family home, and the family's name was Tuintarl. As you may or may not be able to tell, their home was a stalagmite fortress, which is most noble houses in the realm of Mesobaranzan. Whether it was stalactites living somewhere off the ceiling, or whether it was stalagmites growing from the floor in a huge cavern. So here we go. This is rolling up a Drow character, and if you don't mind, I'm going to turn this sideways. Oh boy. I'm having a little bit of trouble here. All right, no big deal. Wow. All right. So anyway, rolling up a Drow character. Drow elves bonuses and penalties. +1 to dexterity, elves, and -1 to constitution, elves. Female Drow may become priests, unlimited in level, warriors. Let's see, I'm having a little bit of trouble here. Warriors of 12th level, thieves unlimited in advancement, magic users of 5th level, and assassins up to 10th level. Male Drow may become priests, not Loth, fighters up to 10th level, mages, illusionists, sorcerers, etc. up to 12th level, thieves unlimited, assassins of 10th level, and rangers of 10th level or cavaliers, whose mount will be a lizard of some type. All classes assume maximum ability scores for highest level achievable. In other words, you have to look at Unearthed Arcana, and depending, say, on your strength score for fighters, on your wisdom for clerics, and multiple scores for different other character types. All characters may pick their own alignment if they wish, and not show other players must give me a note on what their true alignment is. This is the rules on Drow elves. Everything was agreed to by the players. These are not even close to the Unearthed Arcana Drow elves that work on the surface. Drow elves retain their 90% resistance to charm and paralyzation like other elves, and get a +2 on saving throws against all magical effects. Drow of the Underdark get a base 50% magic resistance +2 for each level above 0. A first level character Drow would therefore be 52% magically resistant and so forth. Only the higher level of multi-class character would count toward this. Psionics defeat magic resistance, as always, as psionics are not magic. Dark elves do not gain the +1 like surface elves with regard to swords and bows, however, can fight with a weapon in each hand with no penalty as long as the weapon is easy to wield. And my own writing, easy to wield. In this case means 1 long sword and 1 short sword, or smaller. 2 scimitars, 2 daggers, 1 horseman's mace, and a short sword. There are many more possibilities. Only a player with the superior strength of 1801 or higher can wield 2 long swords effectively. Again, we were kind of really going for it on this campaign. Let's see. Drow know Undercommon, Elvish, and the Silent Code, which is simply a language using hand signals and body language. All Drow start with these for free. The silent code can be communicated to any Drow within 30 feet in the dark and a bit more in very dim light. Dark elves have infravision to 120 feet, or that's what that means, 12 in other words, 120 feet. If they were outdoors, that would be 120 yards, but chances of this are slim and nil in the Underdark. Some Underdark races have this too, but not creatures that sometimes venture to the surface, often like orcs and such. Drow males move at 12 or 120 feet, while females move at 15 base, so 150 feet per minute. Drow can detect secret doors like their kin, one by happenstance in die 6 by accident, and one and two when actively searching. In die 6. They have the ability to detect new construction, stonework traps, sliding walls, and no depth underground like dwarves. All Drow have the innate ability triggered in the third segment of a round to use the following spells once per day: Dancing Lights, Fairy Fire, and a 5-foot globe of darkness. Any Drow reaching the 4th level receive the following spells: Detect Magic, No Alignment, and Levitate once per day. Females at 4th level and higher also receive Clairvoyance, Detect Lie or its reverse, Suggestion, and Dispel Magic, each once per day. All the spells listed never need spell components and trigger on the 3rd segment of a melee round. These spells do not need components or vocal incantations except Suggestion, obviously. The Drow must not move, the Drow must concentrate to cast them, though. That's all I got to say about this. There's probably other things that are involved here. Let's continue. Okay, this is their kind of downfall. Let's see. I'm trying to do this while working around the phone here. Light in a strong light source. Drow lose their ability to gain surprise. Their dexterity concerning armor class is reduced by 2. Attacks are at -2 to hit, and enemies' saves versus Drow attacks are at +2. We will call this the bright light penalty. Still annoying but less a problem is the moderate light penalty. If still in a dark area but firing missiles or casting spells into a brightly lighted area, the Drow get a -1 into hit rolls, and opponent saves are at a +1 bonus. Note that light created by the spells Light, Fairy Fire, and Magic Sword or Torch, Candlelight, or regular lanterns do not bother the Drow significantly enough to be penalized. Furthermore, light pellets and continual light spells suddenly springing up, effectively blinding the Drow or just about anyone else, as if it was totally dark the previous round. Blindness. No dexterity armor class bonus and +4 to be hit, while -4 to hit an opponent. The blindness lasts for only 1 round. If con 12 plus or 2 rounds, if 11 or less. The power of Loth. Priestesses of Loth will automatically feel a link to their Spider Queen when meditating for spells, somewhat like other clerics in the realms. What they might not know is her standing with her. Once a month after a major happening, the priestesses of a noble house may try to use group magic to summon a yokel. Summoning a demon is ugly business, and only the matron mother may speak with the creature while the sisters continue chanting the spell. The yokel is fully capable of denying information and oftentimes speaks in riddles and insults. In the end, however, usually something positive is gained by the encounter. The Loth Faith Rating. In my game, each priestess and house will have a rating of Loth's favor. One rating will be used for personal gain, possibly against another NPC or character. The house rating is for the entire family. If this rating ever drops to 0, the house will be in law's disfavor and suspect to immediate attacks from other houses wishing to usurp their position in the grand scheme of things. One more thing. If the house rating is reduced to 0, then all of the priestesses of that house lose their ability to cast spells. Loth is not playing games. Or maybe she is. Who knows? Non-priestess types may gain favor of the Mother of Lusts. If their rating continues to rise, they will receive rewards as of yet unknown. They might stumble upon a great magic item or monetary gain, etc., etc. The more chaotic the act that gains notoriety, the more Loth will be pleased. Here are a list of highest to lowest in the power of Menzoberranzan. First, matron mother of the first house and leader of the High Council meetings. All matron mothers after this, but only the top 8 are on the ruling council. This is a high honor, one that any matron mother strives to murder her way up to. First, High Priestess of Arach Tinlith. Then all other high priestesses, lesser priestesses. First, Archmage of Sorcerer. First General, Master of Arms at Mealy Mathgear. Wizards of high ranking, Teachers of Sorcery. Then Teachers of the Fighter's School at Mealy Mathgear. First son, elder boy. Second son, and third son of the family. Drow of no nobility or family. And then finally we have slaves and outcasts, which includes wanted fugitives and traitors of Menzoberranzan. And finally, we have driders who are in a gorge and usually slain on sight if they wander away from this place. All right, now that you know how to roll up a character, and I know it's an awful lot, but once the characters are kind of set and put in their place, now it's time to give their equipment. Drow magic equipment. The following is a list of Drow items and their tendency to be found in the game. Common items can be readily found in the marketplace, while uncommon is still 60%. Rare is 30%, and very rare is only a meager 10% to be found when shopping for such items. Some items will never be able to be purchased at the markets and trade areas. This is for the players to figure out on their own. Otherwise, most normal magic items can be found in the Underdark. Think of how rare a set of surface magic armor would be. Almost impossible to come by. Drow chainmail. Drow chainmail is a lightweight and dark coal gray in its appearance. It does not encumber the wearer in the least and is made into tunics and breeches. Breeches are the equivalent of pants. The metal used in its manufacture is adamantite, the strongest metal known throughout the multiverse. The creation of these items and radiation of the Underdark gives even the least magic armor a +1 bonus, so its base armor class is 4. The armor can go up to +5 if further magicked or made in the special way that it is made. If thieves or scouts wish to wear the armor, they get the same penalties as Elven chainmail. However, the typical noise of the armor that makes can be blunted by the wearing of one's pivwafi, the magical drow cloak. I haven't said these words in forever. To a mere whisper. This helps the skill move silently and is not penalized by the armor only if the cloak is worn. If taken to the world above, the armor begins to decay in 1d12 plus 8 days and is destroyed in another 1d12 days. To find this armor in the realm of the Underdark in a Drow city would be considered uncommon. The Pivwafi cloak. The Pivwafi is a cloak given to nobles and key high-ranking members of Drow families, usually by matron mothers. The cloak is usually jet black and very lightweight but tough, able to take damage of about 20 hit points before being destroyed. Using the simple mend spell fixes the damage oftentimes. The item receives a +6 on its saving throws versus fire damage, magical or otherwise. The cloak hides the heat signatures of anyone who wraps himself about it, further hiding the wearer from view. Where was I? Sometimes extra magical charms are placed upon these cloaks for more surprises. Drow surprise opponents 75%, 1 to 3 in die 4 of the time, and are themselves surprised 1 in 8% of the time, when wearing a Pifwafi and Drow boots and no heavy armor. Armor with a base armor class of floor, not Drow chainmail, and above constitute as heavy armor. Again, if taken to the world above, they start to decay in 1 die 12 plus 8 days and are completely destroyed in another 1 die 12 days. Again, another uncommon thing to find in a marketplace, but don't expect to afford one of these easily. Drow boots. Drow boots worn by the Drow are a manufacture of Roth hide. Roth are an Underdark cattle. That's one thing that you'll probably learn if you've ever read the Drizzt books. Rawhide and other secret materials that make the boots very quiet when worn. When wearing these, they work mostly like boots of elven kind, as long as nothing greater than Drow chainmail is worn. See the surprise above for Drow. Again, this clothing rots in the sunlight like the items above. Although rare, some sets of these boots have further enchantments placed upon them. The normal kinds are common. Anything with extra abilities would be considered uncommon or rare. Okay. Hand crossbows. The hand crossbow is a good tool to use against lightly armored opponents who isn't immune to poison. The quarrels themselves do little damage and travel a maximum of 60 feet. So 20 would be short range, 21 to 40 would be medium range, so -2 to hit, and 41 to 60 feet would be -5 to hit, long range. The damage they do is 1 die 3 versus small medium, humankind, and 1 or 2 versus large. It can be kept in a small case on one's belt. They are common. Drow sleep poisons on quarrels. The poisons only used for the hand crossbow. Most opponents must make saving throws at -4 to resist its effects. It takes a full round of no movement to carefully apply the poison to a quarrel or quarrels. Once applied, the poison is potent for 60 days. The poison can last up to a year in unopened packets. 1 packet usually good for 5 quarrels. This substance loses its potency instantly when affected by sunlight, continual light, or a light pellet. A failed saving throw means that an opponent is asleep for 2 die 4 hours. Slapping or kicking will not awake the victim, but neutralize poison and or a potion of sweet water will. This stuff is rare. Fungi cap poison. Some mushrooms are just born bad. This hard to find poison is also used in quarrels of the hand crossbow. Although not a save or a die poison, in other words, no saving throw or save or die, it is useful because when its enemy fails its saving throw, it causes 2 die 8 points of damage. Its manufacture comes from the poisonous fungi. 1 packet usually covers 5 quarrels as above, but it's poisonous for only up to 10 days after its application. These are also rare. Let's go one more page. I'm getting tired here. Another piece of equipment. We're going to go over some things here. The Death Lance. These magic items, I just want to say, or I should say the Death Lance for sure, first appeared in module, I believe it was D1 or D2. Those had Drow elves in it, along with some other races, and I think it was like a some sort of a outstation for the Drow that the party would probably bump into first. If they were lucky, they found a way around it. Otherwise, they did have to fight their way through this Drow gateway or whatever. And some of them had this magic item. Of course, the adventurer should have been like, I think, 9th, 10th level by that time. So what you're about to see may be crazy, but here we go. Though out of fashion, there are still a few of these around. Although this magical lance has no bonus to hit, on a strike it causes 1d6 points of damage, plus 2d6 more damage. Furthermore, any enemy hit must save versus poison or lose 1d4 levels instantly through energy drain. The lance will have from 1 to 6 charges for the last magical ability. And when used completely, the weapon becomes a normal spear. The weapon can hit creatures needing a weapon +3 or less. And these weapons can never be recharged. Very unusual. I don't know if I'd want to change that or not, but when I made this, it probably made sense to me. Not sure. Ring of Anti-Venom. In a world of dark, sickly things, here's one nice thing to have. When failing a saving throw versus poison, a charge in the ring is otherwise expended, saving you any grief. The poison is negated. This ring only works against poison and not other saving throws that might use the poison table matrix. These rings usually have 1 to 20 charges when found. Again, that's a lot of charges, but hey, they're very rare, so maybe 1 or 2 players in the party might have something like this. It's better probably if a fighter would have that. Drow charms and talismans. The Drow are known to put many spell effects into rather ordinary-looking items and mundane things. An eye patch, tunic buttons, or boots, just to name a few. Family tokens or insignia worn are often magic, but not all have the same effect. This is to make the player aware of these, but are not listed here, for there would be too many examples to count. Almost never for sale. Very rare. Usually a player would have to kill his opposite number to get something like this. And there's chances that these trinkets are linked by blood to the character killed. So although they might be worth money, they might never work for the person that murdered them. Let's see. We'll continue a little bit more. I did make some magic items for the game. And then here we go. Here's a note on Drow metal items. It is well known amongst the Underdark that Drow-made weapons and armor cannot be recognized by the detect magic or identify spells. This is because some of them technically aren't magic as such. They're made, and then they're left by a rift, which radiation pours out of. And then when given enough time by the armorer or the people that make it, they know that these items would be magic by then, or the equivalent of magic items. Okay. This is due to the radiation in the metals used to make them. Only through use in combat or the rare spell Identify Radiation Strength or True Seeing type items can properly identify the item. And that is for those who can intelligently read the emanations given off by the metal. Only weapons and armor that have certain specials can be identified by the regular Identify spell. An example of this would be Drow Rapier of Speed +2, or a Short Sword +1, +4 versus Deep Gnomes, and so forth. All right, this has been enough for now. I'm tired, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you're thinking of doing a Drow campaign, just take some notes. And this is just the beginning of my series on this. Good night.